continue. The hour of 3 has arrived. Our quorum is in place, and we'll call the meeting to order. Our first item, as usual, is to receive and approve the minutes of our meeting of July 7th.
So moved.
It's a motion. A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We will continue with our considerations, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. We have 2 items for you to consider today. First, item 3A, we are requesting an allocation of $75,000 in 2007 enlisted fire funds to be allocated for Police and Fire Training Center Gymnasium, which is located on 800 North Portland Avenue, and that is in Ward number 6. There's some photos for you. Basically, during the summertime, the gymnasium gets very hot, and we need to provide a convenient environment for the academies and police academies and fire trainees. So this will help reduce any heat-related injuries or illnesses. Police and fire will be splitting the cost. Basically, the total cost is $150,000. So the $75,000 that we are requesting today from the enlisted fire will be paying for half of this cost. I can accommodate any questions you have on this item.
It wasn't clear to me by reading this, just for curiosity's sake, I guess, more than anything. Is this replacing or is this brand new air in the gym? It was like shocking to me that there hadn't already been air in the gymnasium for this. But
I need to check this, but I think, there is no central HVAC system. There may be windows. I need to check on that to make sure. I don't know if I have anybody from fire or police here, but I think there's some air conditioning, but it's not central.
how old is the gymnasium?
That I do not know.
It would just be curious if you think about it for our next meeting, just anecdotal information.
Sure, I'll find out.
Any questions concerning this item?
Move we approve.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of this item?
Aye.
Aye. Proceed, please.
Okay, the next item, item 3B, is rather unique project, so I may take a few minutes explaining this project to you, and I have staff from Stormwater Quality in case some question comes up that I cannot answer. Basically, we are requesting a total of $150,000 from the 2000 general obligation bond in drainage, unlisted, and basically surplus to be used for a drainage project. This is part of the 2007 GeoBond project. This is basically a phase 1. The total proposition for this project is 2.157. It is for pollution control and stormwater quality improvements on Oklahoma River Basin from Overholser Lake to Eastern Avenue Dam. Because of the bond sale were not large enough, we had to make these in phases. And the fairground location that this project, the phase 1 project was the most important to start with. So we sold $500,000 out of 2.157 in 2013 to work on a design for a stormwater filtration system in the fairground. The location is by May Avenue, General Pershing area. This is going to be in the fairground location. And the whole reason for this is to reduce the pollutants from the fairground. During the fair, the pollutants go up by 5-fold. So We are trying to reduce basically what we call a biochemical oxygen demand, which is, in short, we say BOD. Basically, any grease or any organic material that gets in the stormwater and does not get treated, it's harmful to the river and environment. Could do fish kill as well. So we are trying to treat this with a storm water quality filtration system. This is the first kind in the state of Oklahoma. And this is modeled after Austin, Texas. They use this method successfully, so we are using this method for this location. Any question?
Yes. The treatment of stormwater in Oklahoma City is relatively a new situation, is it not? Is this the first time that we are treating stormwater runoff?
Not the first time. I'll let Raymond Melton, who is our stormwater quality manager, to elaborate.
Good afternoon. Stormwater quality has been a division of Public Works since 1995. This is the first of this type of facility, yes, in Oklahoma City. We do have a what's called a storm scepter out at our central maintenance facility, which does treat the water before it goes into the creek. But we have a municipal separate storm system here in Oklahoma City, which the water is not treated before it enters the creek. So this would be the first line of defense off the fairgrounds.
Is this a requirement of the state DEQ or EPA, or is this just on our own initiative?
It is a federally unfunded mandated program through the Clean Water Act. We do permit with ODEQ. Every 5 years we renew a permit. So we do answer to ODEQ at this time.
Help me just a little bit more. Is there something special that happens when the fair is here that doesn't happen in other
Yes,
times?
with the large amount of people and stuff out there, it does create a problem in that creek going down General Pershing every year.
Lots of people.
Lots of people.
Even if it doesn't rain.
If they're sometimes they're washing the parking lots off, or the area where they're doing the food service and things of that nature. So food is dropped. There's grease, anything that's organic that could get into the creek. And what it does is, like Ahmad said, it takes the oxygen out of the water, so the fish die and the plant and the living creatures don't have any oxygen.
Other questions?
I have a question. We obviously missed the target does the city use a contract with an outside cost estimator for these sorts of things, or we do that in-house?
No, we had hired a consultant engineer to design this. So they gave us an engineer estimate. They designed it, but of course, we have the review jurisdiction, and we reviewed the plans, and they gave us an engineer estimate. Now, the major reason why the bid came high, it's a specialized type work. It's a lot of concrete and steel that the material costs have gone up. So that's the main.
So what's the time gap between when the engineer gave you his cost estimate and the bids were opened? Just rough.
It's pretty much we pretty much know along the way. At the preliminary stage, we know how much it is. And before the bid, we know how much that is. But again, it's sometimes out of our control what contractor is looking at when they are bidding the project.
I understand, but I'm asking, you say price of steel and what have you has gone up. I'm kind of trying to get a sense of when that estimate was made and when those bids were open.
The estimate and bid pretty much, we had it at the same time. 3 weeks ago.
Well, I guess I'm not making myself clear. But I'll shut up. Joe.
Well, the construction estimate that the engineer came up with was $420,000 based on the going rate of, what the cost of everything else. We look at the historic data, like previous bids. we look at how much structural concrete is in the area, how much is the steel. So based on those numbers, we put the numbers together, and we add some contingency, and that's what the number we came up with. But of course, that was not enough.
Eric, did you want to add something?
I think just Eric Winger, Public Works Director, I think one of the things that obviously we watch very closely is our bid pricing, and one of the things that happens in Public Works is we record that data with a part of each bid, as Ahmad had mentioned. So we use that historical data significantly as we plan for future projects, but the actual amount of this project was determined as a part of the bond sale that occurred in 2007. The original budgets are actually that old, and we actually update them throughout the process. So as you see these projects come before you for funding, they've actually had some significant engineering already completed. At 30%, we do a preliminary report, and that preliminary report has an estimate. And that's usually a few months before the final plans are created. And then when the final plans are completed, a second estimate is done. But ultimately, it's up to the contractors and the bidders to tell us what the real price is, and it's really based on market conditions. And those can change dramatically from week to week. So as much as our data may be good, if there were a lot of projects bidding this week, prices tend to go up. It follows a lot of times fuel pricing, and as we watch the pump and we look at 7-Eleven and the prices going up and down, really bid prices kind of can be that volatile as well. So that we're a little bit at the mercy of the market. So in this case, they just came in a little higher than anticipated, but not out of reason, and so that's the reason for the additional funding today.
But again, I'm learning this process and
I think what Mike's asking is this. On the 1st of August, and I'm just using an example, you have the estimate of what it's going to cost. Then how long is the time period before the actual bid is open? Is it a month? Is it 6 weeks? I think that's what he's asking. Am I correct, Mike?
That's correct.
You see what I'm saying? That he wants to know the time frame. But you get the cost of $400,000 from the estimate. Now, how long is it before you get the bids from the bidders?
It's usually between 60 and 90 days.
Okay, I thought that's what he was asking.
2 to 3
Is that what you were asking?
I obviously wasn't very clear in my question. Thank you.
Well, and I think that's what I mentioned about the final plans. By the time the final plans are done and they're bid, there's usually a 2 or 3 month period while they're being approved. So 2 to 3 months from that final estimate.
Any other questions concerning this item?
Move we approve.
Have a motion to, and a second. All in favor of approval of this project?
Aye.
The item is approved. Now we have an informational item by staff.
Again, this month, we wanted to include the GeoBond Executive Summary. This is updated as of July 30th. Contract awards in GeoBonds for the month of July are just under $800,000. And amounts advertised but not awarded yet on projects is $1.7 million. Our GeoBond expenditures that have occurred in the month of July were $384,000. Our chart number 2 looks at our 85% expenditure requirement by the IRS. You can see we have updated it through July 30th. 2012, we're currently at 65%, and we have until May of next year to reach the 85% requirement, which is an additional $10.2 million. Then you can see the other 2 years have been updated as well. We go on to the next slide. This chart here we use on a monthly basis to compare the target the Public Works is shooting for as of July, and then how we go through the year. But of course, we just have 1 month of data entered here, so it's kind of on top of itself. But I think they're just a little under target for the month of July so far this year. And with that, that's all I have for our executive summary report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No questions. Our next item is there any new business to come before this body? Hearing none, we'll proceed. Are there any items from committee members?
I assume, Mr. Chairman, our September date will be on the 8th, our meeting date due to
That is correct.
because the 1st is on Labor Day.
Yes, we'll be holding the meeting on September 8th at 3 o'clock.
Any citizens to be heard? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, move we adjourn.
Second? We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.